Good morning. All right. Welcome on out, all you welcome all you happy people out there. There's a video for you on the creative process of a flyer. This time I managed to capture everything from the very beginning. Me picking out pictures, photos, and coming up with an idea in kind of real time. So before I made this video, I did look through some of my stock photos, and I transferred a bunch of them onto a new drive that I have that will be a lot easier to flip through and search. So I did do some prep before this, but you're pretty much seeing right from the beginning. Here's me making a folder for the new flyer. And it's 2017. So as you can see on the video here, I am going through some stock photos and choosing some things. Let's talk about creating your idea here. It's the beginning of the year. It's 2017, and it's always like a time of thinking ahead and thinking back. So I can show you some old ones later on, but there's a bunch of flyers that I have that are first of the year flyers. They're always like have the year on there, 2017, bam, now what we're gonna do this year so far. And the idea popped into my head as I was at, I think of that prayer the morning before, or just talking to my wife. Hey, it's 2017, what now? And so that was kind of my thought. Okay, what now? Like a challenge to you. Republicans, we got our Republican president, but yeah, what now? Democrats, hey, we lost the White House, what now? So some people are facing some crazy things in their life, and so I'm always thinking that kind of thing. And here I am toggling the bunch of photos, trying to get some ideas, some inspiration. How can I go with this idea? What now? So I got a whole bunch of stock photos, just weird things that could be foreground or background elements or stuff that's just blended in that you can barely tell is even there. I initially wanted to go through this kind of stuff right here with a hyper color looking thing, oversaturated color palette deal going on, and have something crazy like that. But it turns out it didn't. Now, first of all, there's when you want to do a flyer in a pinch, you got to come up. Just think of there's three different kinds of flyers you can do. One is a sermon flyer where you have an idea. And when I was a pastor, I had the advantage of having 3 sermons a week to make flyers off of and have a message to them. I looked through my old catalog. We'll do that in the next video. But yeah, I had a lot of sermon ideas that I put them on flyers, and that's what they were. They were sermons. So doing that, I always had a message, and to me, the flyer was a message that you gave to someone else and hope they read it. There's also face flyers where you do what I'm looking right now. You can see I'm looking for people's faces, and they have expressions that they're making. And so hopefully, as you go through, you hand this to someone, they can look at that person and maybe identify or project their emotional state on this flyer. And maybe there's something here for me. Maybe this person relates with me. Maybe there's someone at this church that knows what I'm going through. Maybe God knows what I'm going through and can help me. And so I always look through these things and try to find faces that are expressing some emotion. Sometimes a definite emotion like fear, anger, anxiety, stress, blah, blah, blah. Or just an eyeball like that. See that lady's eyeball? Great eyeballs. I mean, you can put an eye like that on a flyer and put anything on there, and you'll be like, wow, that person is thinking exactly what this flyer is going through. But there's a lot of good flyers. You can take some of these. They're already pre-produced, some of them. You can just slap them down, put some text on there. Like that guy with the square around his eyeball, that'd be a good flyer for like what's happening next in your life, or life's adventures waiting for you, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. But anyway, and then there's globe flyers or world flyers, and this is when you step back and you consider the world and life, eternity, and all these other things that are going on. You make the person with the flyer feel small. You let them know that, hey, this is you on this earth. You're a speck on this big ball that we got going on. So it kind of it's good for prophecy, for the beginning of the year when you're trying to think how is my life affecting this world, and how is the world affecting my life. It's just try to stimulate people's thinking, change their view of things. So when it comes to just flyers for revivals in church service, that's what's going on in my head. See this lady's eye right here? To me, that's like an eye. That eye communicates so much. Just the side of her face. You don't have to know what's going on, but you see that eye? Yeah, there you go. I see. I'm even circling the eye with the mouse back then and there. The black mouse is the real-time mouse here. This is the old mouse. You know, you don't know what's going on, but that extreme nose hair close up. Cool. So you don't even know what's going on in her mind or in her life, but I will project onto her what I'm feeling at the time. And so I move that into my folder. I'm gonna instead of going through thousands of photos, I'm gonna pick a handful of photos. So this guy's eye is kind of the same thing. And you can, what is he feeling? If you cut off half of his face, bam, then you don't know what he's thinking, but you can project thoughts into it. You can write, like, did I forget my keys? You know, that kind of thing. You don't know what he's saying, but you can write anything you want next to him, and yeah, he's saying that. But anyway, so you have this folder on the left. That's the folder I'm to design with today. Instead of going through thousands and thousands and thousands, I only have like 8 of them to go through. And so I'm going to do, I decided a face flyer, and then I look at some of these globe shots. Guy holding the ball, that can be a globe. You can see the fingers. And then, okay, so it's possible I can do a globe flyer today too, then, with my idea of it's 2017, now what? So I'm going through different things. I wanted that hyper color palette I was telling you about, I wanted to do something with that. So I grabbed, I think, a really hyper color picture, that one right there, and so on and so forth. So anyways, what happened was I was going to do a face flyer, but it turned out I did a globe flyer instead. So I'm going to fast forward the video a little bit here, drag it on to the actual design process. Here I've blown everything up. I can see the big, huge, this beach scene right here. I am going to use that. I don't care what flyer I do. I just decided I like the textures in it, and I'm going to use it no matter what. And I will. So here I'm doing my background now in Photoshop, and I'm going to, obviously I'm going to do an 8.5, 5.5 by 8.5 half page flyer, because it'll help me do any size flyer or poster. There you go. So there you go. Blah, 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 blah. If you don't know, I'm listening to music in the background. You saw the picture of Billy Sheenan when you first opened up. Well, I'm streaming a concert on YouTube. I like music in the background because I'm a musician. It puts me in a creative attitude, mindset. So it's got to be something I really don't know, because then I won't start drumming along and, you know, wanting to watch it and stuff. But if I know it, there'll be problems. If I don't know the music, then fine. I think it's Mr. Big or Winery Dogs or something like that. But anyways, here's my flyer. I'm gonna start here. After all that mess, I took about, I don't know, 20 minutes to go through all those, all those flyers and stuff. I end up just going with the globe. All right, I've looked for all the people. I found some good faces, but I'm going with the globe, and I can use those eyeballs and faces later on. So here I pick it up. I dropped this picture in there. This is, to me, is like a guy holding the marble, but I'm going to put the globe on here. And so I have a photo with a globe I have to go back and find now. It's a world picture. See, I'm going to use that texture if it kills me. All right. But yeah, okay. Playing with some blending methods there. Trying to find my outer space pictures. Trying to find a globe. And this is cool. I want to be like the globe is a piece of metal. Get my point across. I use this wireframe one just to see if I can blend it in right. It doesn't work. I cut all the white. It doesn't look right. Just something wrong with it. So I put the blue globe in there, blah, blah, blah. What I want to go for the effect that shine on the marble is going to be on top of the globe. So I'm trying to do some blending methods to try and pull it off without having to do some major cutting out, major designing, because I'm trying to get this done. So here it is. I do some blending methods. I put multiple layers. I cut out the marble and put it on the top layer, and I do all kinds of stuff. We'll fast forward to the final product. It's not even the final product. What I end up doing is, let's see, I have a normal one on the bottom, some overlays, and some screens on top in vivid light. But now I want to make him look like he's holding the thing, so I do the lasso. The magnetic lasso is what I end up going with in the end. Cut this thing out right. See, magnetic lasso, really good masking tool. Or selection tool. I guess masking is a Corel term. So Photoshop. Don't want to offend any Photoshop people out there. There you go. So it kind of looks like it. It ain't perfect, but it's going to be 4 inches by 6 inches. So unless you're a Photoshop critic, you're not going to care. So here we go. Got my thumb on there. I'm going to save that selection, blah, 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 so I can use it later. And adjust some levels. Level adjustment is better than brightness, contrast, whatever. Yeah, so you get some good, it makes it nice and warm looking, nice and contrasty. and I go looking for space pictures. I don't have any good space photos. I find one, I download it, I slap it on there, turn it sideways. There you go. So what my idea became, before I was looking for an eyeball or a face flower, now I'm looking at doing a whole globe deal, but the hand is coming through space. I'm going through space kind of like Jello, holding on to the earth. It's kind of trippy. See, I'm using masking layer masks to mask out the. I'm actually erasing or masking out the star field so the hand can pop through, and it's non-destructive. I'm painting on this white thing here, which masks it out. So I'm not destroying the star field. Like if you use an eraser, you're done, right? If you use masking at the layer mask, then you get to undo some of what you did. You can see, fast forward all this. I think I'm cool. I got it done. I'm going to do like a liquefy effect. See that? And then it doesn't work out that good. So I remask everything, tighten up the lines, blah, 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 liquefy again. Then you can do this. I always do this. If I'm trying to cut out, I go turn on a stroke on the whole layer. The redness tells me what is left to be erased, so you get a nice clean thing, or not erased. This has to be unmasked. This has to be overmasked here. Anyway, so until the redness is all looking good, then when I turn it off finally, oh, there's no surprises. I go back and liquefy, blah, 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 blah. Bam, got some little swirlies around where the hand is coming through space and time and holding on to the earth. Obviously, this is the hand of God that is controlling our destiny and our future and what happens on the earth. That's kind of the idea here. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, then I'm going to use that texture. Darn it. Okay, so I did put it on there, but I masked out the middle where the guy and his kid piggyback ride. And I got kind of like a fluid thing going on right here. And that's what I want you to see is like, space has been turned into like a fluid deal going on here. I'm masking out the rest of the texture. The sky's up here, but you can't really tell. And there's going to be text on top of that anyway. Okay, and I did a level adjustment on the actual star field. And be careful, after you do cutting out, then you adjust the contrast and the levels and stuff, you might see some weird imperfections. But in this case, it worked out okay. Then I'm, again, messing with this earth till I get a nice shiny little orb. You can tell that's the earth. At this point, I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. Yeah, so this time, then I don't know exactly how I'm going to bring this to pass. But I had my original idea of now what. So anyways, save this. Put this into Curl Painter, do some glow brushing action. Woo! Fancy, fancy, fancy. Little touch-ups, make it all nice. Save it. Make a curl document. Okay, just my flyer setup so you know. It's the bleed space. I don't know, I put 1/26 here. That was a type error, but it doesn't matter. It's 1/1000th of an inch, and you won't even tell. 300 DPI, save it. Set up your... Okay, I drag and dropped it on there. It's way huge, so I just crunched it down to size, locked it. Okay. Picking the font, I go with a clean font. Real clean and narrow, too, because that's kind of like a narrow space here. Clean and narrow, and I just laid down some preliminaries. I didn't know I was going to do any of this. I'm just laying some preliminaries down, something to work with. Some gradient fill in there. I have my my black fade box down here for text. I'm knowing what I know what I'm going to say. I know the evangelist, I know the church, all that stuff. I lay down what I know first, and then I can get creative later on. And I'm having a hard time with this thing turning everything into a link. All right, okay. So anyways, I take a break to go to the bathroom, go pick the kids up, blah, blah, blah. So there's a big cut right here. But you come back here, here's Carl Cooper, got his picture, brought it in here. Like in Corel, you can trim the picture right in the program. It's no big deal. Then take a break. I come back, and I chose a scripture. Here, I just typed in the word future in my Bible program app. And this scripture was one of the ones that popped up. Your future is filled with hope, declares the Lord. Great, but the God's Word version, cite or everything appropriately. I did the circle, text wrap around the circle, blah, blah, blah. Look at this little cool fade I got here on the 2017. Even though it's on top, it feels like it's part of the underpainting. There you go. That's kind of the flyer right there. And I'm having a hard time with this, though. I didn't know where to place it. So many iterations later, I'm doing this thing. Texts don't look right. What this ends up being, a lot of these flyers I do end up being like book covers from the 70s. Hal Lindsey book covers, kind of what this looks like to me. Excuse me. So then you could, this is about your life. What's going on in your life, huh? What's going on? I changed some of the colors, get a little gradient in there, make it fill in the rest of it. Plain white's boring. So there you go. Okay, then of course I got to keep messing with it. So I have this juice drop. It's a Photoshop file basically with these cool designer geometrics on top of it. So I exported just that one layer as a PNG. And I see this figure number 7. That's all part of it. There's writing, there's text and everything. So I put this on top. And on top of the, you see over here on the right, on top of the locked bitmap, underneath this black rectangle, but underneath everything. And I'm going to change the blending method on this and make it transparent. Cut off the figure number 7 stuff by using my node tool here, whatever that's called. All right. So I'm cutting it off, so I'm making it just the size of the picture. It trims the bitmap in the program. Very valuable tool. And I don't like it white, so I'm going to change it. I'm going to invert it. I don't like these white spots. And it's going to look all white and cool. Inverted, change to white. There you go. See that? That looks a lot better. The invert is the blending method. Transparency about 18. Oh, 46 now. Okay. See that? Now it looks cool. It's part of the design. It's not totally out of place, but it's one of those things that it's there. You'll barely recognize that it's there, but it's there, and it just makes the viewing of it all that much more cool. See that? And that's the completed flyer basically right there. That took me 2 hours total. There's some pauses. There's some about half an hour, 40 minutes of pre-work where you're looking for all your stuff. And 2 hours of work total. There's some stuff that you didn't see, but that might add another half hour onto it. But that's what it is. That's a creative process. I was going to do an eyeball or a face flyer, but I didn't. I ended up doing a globe flyer. And I didn't know I was going to do all this swirly stuff, this jello looking space field with the fingers coming through. I didn't know all that stuff. But as I got it, I thought this would look cool, this would look cool, this would look cool. And, you know, after a while I've learned to pull out the tools that I need to do what I want to do. So that's a blessing of experience. So if you want to design stuff, just keep on designing stuff. Design everything. I'll show you in a following video. I just do design work for Christmas cards for my family, just to mail out, email to people. I do design work for a little flyer for my daughter's first birthday party. I had to come up with some creative ideas for that. Just always be a conduit of creativity, man. Let God use your life. Take nothing for granted. Everything's cool. Every little free photo you get to download it from one of these websites when they offer free downloads. You'll never know if you're going to use it. You'll never know. You just you'll use pretty much anything. And, this is another part of the process as I close here. This is just when you send it off to the printer, it has to be CYMK. So I usually take it into Photoshop. I export RGB, but I take it into Photoshop and image mode, change it to CYMK. And then you see a little shift in the color there, a slight shift in the color. Do I do it? Yeah, mode. Anyway, so what I do is to combat that shift, I use the hue over like 0.5, not even this much sometimes. If you've got a lot of purple and dark blues in your design, it's going to mess it up. It's going to make it all pale looking. So I'll bump up the saturation and move the hue off +5 to 10 about normally. And that will fix the desaturation that happens when you convert to CYMK. When you've got a lot of purple in there, if it's like all red and yellow, you're not even going to notice. Okay, so that's how that worked out. That's about it. That's the design tip for today, this week / month. Okay, so there you have it. This is up close and personal with the flyer we just made. Booyah. See you on Outreach or at the music night or at the revival. Keep the faith. It takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. Talk to you later.